So, I just recently, as of last night, watched Alien Romulus, the newest Alien movie in the Alien franchise. And I don't give a shit if this movie's been out for a little while. I did not go see it in theaters. The last time I saw an Alien movie in theater, it came out on my birthday, was Alien Covenant. Let's just say I went in like, fuck yeah, Alien movie, this is gonna be badass on the big screen, and then leave being like, that was fucking stupid. Very disappointing. When I heard there was a new Alien movie coming out, Alien Romulus, I was keeping it at arm's length. I'd be like, you know what, I'll wait for it to come out, I'll check it out then. I'm not spending movie theater money to go be disappointed again, because that really sucked for me. I'm just going to come right out and say it. This is probably going to be a controversial video, because I have some serious beef with this movie. Okay, if you enjoyed the movie, that's great, truly. I am not shitting on you at all. I am shitting on the movie a little bit, though. Before we get into all that, I just want to talk about some of the things I liked about the movie. We're going to start off positively before we go negative. I liked all the scenes in space. Like, you know, I don't know. I like space shit. And whenever they're leaving the planet that they're on and their little ship and they get above the atmosphere, you see like it's a big Saturn type planet with big giant rings going around. And they're pretty close by, so you can see all the little detailed rocks in them and stuff like that. Very cool. You know, very nice. I did like that. The music. The music is it's orchestral, it's like classical music. You can tell they hired a composer, which is great. I've seen movies before where they've ruined it with the music. Quick example, that Elvis biopic that came out a little bit while ago, I don't remember what year. Pretty early on in the movie, young Elvis is going into the dingy, ghetto-y part of town to go see Little Richard live perform at a bar, and as they're walking through the crowded city streets, a fucking TikTok rap star is playing in the background like it's at a fucking club or whatever. It's like, what the fuck is this TikTok rapper doing in my Elvis biopic movie? Really glad that this movie kept with the traditional orchestral score. It worked really well for most of the movie. All the sound mixing was really well. Nothing was extremely loud or jarring or anything like that. Well, except when it needed to be, when there's a jump scare, bah! Xenomorphs themselves, they used a lot of the man-in-suit technique. There wasn't a whole lot of CG. There was some, but not a lot. Because I watched the Blu-ray and had special features for it. You see that there was plenty of guys in suits running around. And I always think that looks way better when you're depicting, like, a creature that you're supposed to be interacting with. It's way better if it's something in front of you instead of a fucking blobby cartoon, I like that. Don't get me wrong, there's problems with the Xenomorph, but we'll get there. Ian Holmes, who played Ash in the original movie, the evil android that went crazy and tried to kill the crew to save, all that stuff, Ash, Ian Holmes, he played Bilbo Baggins in fucking Lord of the Rings, Ian Holmes died a couple of years before this movie, and they got permission from his widow to pretty much bring him back. And they built a full-size animatronic of Ian Holmes' character. He looks just like the guy. He looks just like his character in the first Alien movie. As soon as you see him, you'll know exactly who the fuck it is. And you'll be like, wow. And they used a little CG for the mouth to make it talk right. But other than that, it was a full-size animatronic, and it looked great. I thought for sure that Ian Holmes was in this movie, and they just de-aged him. But no. I watched the special features and was like, oh shit. Talk about above and beyond. That was easily my favorite part of the movie, is any times Ian Holmes' android robot was in the movie, because he did a great job. Now it's time to open the can of worms of why I don't like this movie. Our main character is some girl who lives on this mining planet, this fucking rocky, ugly, brown, got no sun because the atmosphere's too thick or whatever like that. It seems like all the adults work in this mine and they're constantly saying like, oh, it's so terrible, it's so tragic, it's deadly, people die there all the time. Do you see any of this? No. She goes and sees a group of her friends, I guess, and they're like, guess what? We found a derelict space station up in space. We can use it to go to Orgasmo 6 and get away from the shitty planet and live there. Also with them is the sister of one of the dudes, and she's pregnant. And their main character asks, who's the daddy? And she says, oh, I don't know, some asshole. Sounds like you've been working real hard in them mines, you fucking bitch.
Getting pipe laid down in your mines, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
The moment she says that, I'm like, I want a fucking xenomorph to just spear her through the gut with its tail right now. Like, fuck that. I know what they're doing. They're gonna garner some kind of fucking sympathy points for not the pregnant girl. If this was Mad Max Fury Road, she wouldn't have made it 30 minutes, let's say. And honestly, my wife called it. As soon as she said she was pregnant, my wife went, fucking alien's gonna mess with her baby somehow. Within a 2-minute conversation, they're like, yep, okay, let's leave this planet, let's get on board this derelict space station, and let's go. The whole time they're talking about how terrible it is to live on this planet and how brutal the working conditions are, but do you see any of our main characters or any characters at all working? No. It's like, and I know there's a joke here where it's like, oh, the younger generation, they're lazy and they don't want to work, but honestly, it's painted pretty clearly here. None of them work, or you don't see any of them work. They just complain about work. And then how they just want to leave and go live on a hippie planet island or whatever the fuck. And then you see the space station, this big-ass Deep Space Nine looking-ass thing. And they get to the space station, they dock. A couple of dudes and the android get off, and the android's like, you know, you gotta come because you're the only one that can interface with this fucking space station's super controls or whatever the fuck. And then they start walking around, they see that it's kind of trashed, it's kind of fucked up. They find another synthetic that's been completely ripped in half. And there's holes melted in the floor that go all the way down, multiple stories. They need to get cryo fuel for the cryo sleep that they have to undertake in order to make this journey. So they go into the cryo fuel storage and they start trying to, you know, get the fucking fuel or whatever like that. But in there is a bunch of cryogenically frozen face huggers unthaw. And they start jumping around at them, start jumping all around, a whole bunch of them, like fucking 10 or 12 of them, you know, all jumping around, trying to get on their faces. And the one dude has like a stick, and he's batting them out of the air like some home run slugger baseball champ. And it's like, really? Eventually, one face hugger does break out and latches onto the face of the pilot who drove them out there. Which is of no consequence because it seems like anybody can fly this fucking thing. So the fact that she was a pilot is kind of inconsequential. She's just another part of this group. Chestburster busts out of the pilot lady in a pretty cool little scene. Always love a chestburster scene. They're always good. And honestly, every single Alien movie, that's the one thing they do correctly every single time. First movie, chestburster. Fucking iconic. It's gruesome. It's awesome. Second movie, Aliens, with that lady, kill me. It's scary. It's freaky. It's simple and it's effective. The third movie, it's a dog. And that's just, you know, that's a whole other bag of worms there. That's heartbreaking all over again. Alien Resurrection, that guy's got a fucking chest burster in his chest, and he puts that evil guy's head on it, and it comes out his chest and out his head, and it's gruesome, it's badass. However, the gestation period in which the facehugger lays its egg, and then dismounts, and then Alien is born, and then Alien is full grown, I swear, is like 5 minutes. Gotta have a xenomorph get going, so let's just hurry up and get him out here. I get it. Let's move, you know? Bunch of other nonsense happens, and our characters find their way. Like, we gotta make our way through this derelict shit to get back to our ship. But now there's aliens everywhere. The facehuggers all got loose, and they're all running around. And then we make it to the scene that almost made me quit watching. I almost turned this shit off and just was like, you know what? I'm done. But I didn't. I kept watching. They're all walking down this hallway until they come to this big glass room, or this big glass door. And it's full of face huggers. And then bam, jump scare. One jumps on the window and starts trying to get at them before scuttling off somewhere else. And they look around, they see a whole bunch of them, you know, just crawling around and, you know, just being in there. Immediately after the facehugger slams itself on the window and then runs away, the android says, "We have to keep our body temperature low so they won't see us. And any kind of fear or stress will raise your body temperature, so make sure to stay calm." And it's like, wrong fucking alien, dude. Is it the Predator in there? Do we need to cover ourselves in mud like Arnold Schwarzenegger in order to sneak past him? One of the scariest things about the facehugger is not the fact that it grabs a hold of your face and, you know, impregnates you. It's its ambush tactics. This thing lies in wait until you get close enough for it to spring on you and come bam in your face 100 miles an hour, you know? I almost shut it off there. Because I'm like, fuck you. Where did you get that information? You made that up. You're confusing it with the Predator. Go to fucking hell. Another thing that happens is when the Ian Holmes android gets reactivated, the little android who's running around with the android is running around with our main characters, puts in its little SD card gold chip thing in its neck, and he gets a new directive, and that is secure Weyland-Yutani assets at all costs. He needs this fucking SD card chip thing in order to access all parts of the ship. So it's a necessary upgrade, but it gives him a directive that kind of turns him into an evil android for a second. Also, he went from this, you know, this kind of wimpy little kid to the fucking Terminator now, where he can walk up to these giant steel doors with one hand and like just lift it straight up, no problem at all. Later on in the movie, main character girl and android dude are climbing up an elevator shaft that's like fucking, it's like a skyscraper, and they're climbing up it. And the elevator starts falling, and then android with one hand holds it up like the fucking Hulk. And it's like, where the fuck did all this strength come from? You ain't got no metal endoskeleton like the fucking Terminator. We all know the fucking androids and Alien are all full of white bags of fucking milk or whatever the fuck. It doesn't even look like they have a skeleton. It looks like they're just made of bags of shit. So it's like, where did this fucking Hulk strength come from? From your little SD card chip upgrade? Get the fuck away from me. In the first Alien, when Ash is attacking Ripley, Parker comes in with like a fucking, I don't know what it is, like a billy club, and smacks it on the head, and its head breaks in half. So Parker is easily able to almost decapitate one of these fucking things, but this guy can hold a fucking giant elevator up by his one hand. And in the second movie, Bishop, as soon as they make it back to the ship and you think you're all safe, the big queen alien grabs him up with his big tail and rips him in half. No trouble at all. Where's that fucking Superman strength now, motherfucker? Should've got that upgrade. Another thing I did not like about this movie is the black liquid. I'm just gonna go on record right now. Has anybody ever seen the movie District 9? If you have, then you would probably know that District 9 introduced the mysterious black alien liquid that if you get it on you, will turn you into some kind of creature, fuck with your DNA and all this other dog shit. District 9 did it first, and then I saw it in Prometheus, and then it was in Alien Covenant, and now look who the fuck we got here. We got a whole jug of this shit. And what are they saying? It's the next step in human evolution. It's the fucking upgrade we have been so rightfully deserving all this time. It's like, fuck off with this black liquid. I hate it. Black liquid is such a fucking cheap way to be like, oh, it can fucking do anything. Just get it on your skin and watch it go crazy. I don't know. I wish they would stop with the black liquid. The black liquid fucking sucks. At one point they're like, how are we gonna fight these xenomorphs? And like, well, we need guns. And they go open a gun locker in some room and they find pulse rifles, like from Aliens. Dude picks it up and starts handing them out to people, hands one to our main character girl, and he's like, do you know how to use that? And she's like, no. And he's like, okay. And he's showing her how to use it. Very reminiscent to that scene in Aliens when Hicks is showing Ripley how to use pulse rifle. Except this time it's a little different, because after he's going through all the, the specs about the gun and whatnot, how to use it, she says, where did you learn all this stuff? And he literally says, from video games and magazines. And it's like, I'm supposed to take this seriously, right? As you can probably imagine, since we've introduced the pulse rifle, now we gotta use it, right? Right. So, they start walking down this big creepy corridor where it looks like the aliens are starting to set up some kind of hive. It's all got some H.R. Geiger slimy shit all over it. And they find Bro's sister, the pregnant girl. She's still alive, and she's cocooned into the wall. She's injured, but not severely injured. Just enough to be like, I'm fucked up, They break her loose. And the android's like, it doesn't seem like she's been infected, because there would be a dead parasite nearby, and I don't see one. And once they break, girl out and they start making their way back, then all the xenomorphs start coming out. Dude even says at one point to just point your gun at them and they'll get scared and run away. It's like, no the fuck they don't. In the movie Aliens, they set up gun turrets and they come at wave after wave after wave after wave, and they're just getting shot the fuck up until eventually they stop coming. And they're like, hey, the gun turrets worked. And they're like, no, they're just looking for a new way in. Which eventually they do. But in this one, it's like, all you gotta do is point a gun at it, like, you stop, alien, or I'll shoot. And it's like, hey, I don't want no smoke. Rah! They turn off the gravity. And girl literally dumps an entire clip of pulse rifle into all these aliens, killing almost all of them in one go. And it's like, okay, fine. And with zero gravity still in play, they have to now make it through this hallway of acid splatter that is just kind of hovering in the air, and they gotta maneuver around it. Whoa! Speaking of the xenomorph, while I'm thinking of it right now, the xenomorph, like I said before, they look fine. They look fine. Sort of. The design of it is pretty much still the same. It's still the same fucking monstrous monster that it always was. Except there's no slime. It looks like it's made of plastic. It looks like a rubber latex suit. And yeah, they got a drooling mechanism, which looks like just a water faucet just turned on in its mouth, and it's just bleh the whole time. But if you remember any of the other Alien movies, they look like they are covered in KY jelly and Vaseline and just slime all the time. Not here. Not here. They drool, and that's about it. The alien looks very clean in this one in a way that it never has before. That facehugger scene I mentioned where they have to go through that room and can't be scared or they'll raise their body temperature. The facehuggers, you see them, they see a couple shots of them kind of walking around, and there's one shot in particular that they hold on where it looks like an RC car with a facehugger doll on top of it, with its legs just kind of casually bobbing up and down. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, ha, that looks like a fucking toy car with a facehugger on it. Sure fuck enough, in the special features, they pretty much say just that. It's like an RC car, but with this animatronic on top. See? Look how it moves. It's cool. The facehuggers look rubbery, they look fake, and that to me is a big insult because one of the best things about these alien movies is the visual effects on the aliens themselves. They look amazing. They look terrifying. They look disgusting. And in this, they look plastic. They look fake. They look like rubber. They look like a robotic animatronic. It's one of the only times I wish they would have used CG to kind of smooth out the movement of this rickety fucking RC car facehugger looking thing. That bummed me out. That really did. Toward the end of the movie, we're down to only 3 characters. Pregnant girl who was injured has now made it back to the ship by herself, and she's, resting or whatever the hell. Android and main girl, they are climbing up the big 20-story elevator shaft, and the elevator's falling. Android is holding it up with one arm as he's looking down, as girl is being menaced by a xenomorph who's very slowly creeping towards her, and it's like, yeah. And it's like, kill her. Kill her. What are you waiting on? Eventually, dude lets go of the elevator. Can't hold it no longer, whatever the fuck, I don't care. He lets it go and the elevator falls, narrowly missing the whoosh giant machine flying by them and slamming on the ground. Both her and the xenomorph come out of a corner, and the android dude who has a pulse rifle jumps from all the way up there, lands on the xenomorph, boom, lands on top of it, and then unloads this pulse rifle into its face. And he says, "Get away from her, you bitch." Oh, remember that reference, huh? Remember that one-liner? It's like that one-liner doesn't even work here. Because first of all, Ripley was talking to the queen alien who was about ready to get a hold of the little girl Newt. And it's like, get away from her, you bitch. Like, because it's 2 girls talking to each other. You know what I mean? Get away, bitch! Like, it worked in that movie, did not work here, and it was another eye-rolling groan moment for me. This movie should not have been called Alien Romulus. It should have been called Alien Reference. Because that's all this movie is one big giant reference to the first 3 movies. Actually, the first 3 movies and Prometheus. Because of that fucking black liquid dog shit. Throughout the movie, you're walking through different corridors and laboratories and shit like that. And they are made up to look exactly like the fucking laboratory space shit from the first movie. All the big CRT fucking screens and the blinking blooping lights everywhere. They made it up to look exactly like that. And I know what that is. It's like, doesn't that look familiar? Remember the thing that you love? And it's like, okay, yeah, it does, yeah. But this ain't Alien. This is Alien Romulus. Or I'm sorry, Alien Reference. Pulse rifles, and not just any kind of pulse rifle. It's literally like the exact same fucking gun as from Aliens. It's just painted white now, and it has some auto aim feature to where it's got a little screen on it, and all you have to do is point it in the general direction of something and it'll stay on target for you. It's like, okay, where the fuck, why, if this is set in between Alien and Aliens, why didn't the highly trained, super prepared colonial marines have this auto-aim fucking pulse rifle? We need to get off the space station because apparently it's since it's been deactivated or whatever the hell, it's now on a collision course with the rings of Super Saturn or wherever the fuck they are. But it's going to crash into the rings. It's going to fucking destroy itself. And we need to get off this boat now. What do you know? They make it back to their ship. They get on. They fly away. And the fucking space station crashes into the rings, killing every xenomorph on board. Sounds just like Alien Resurrection to me. Remember that when they got off the big giant space station before the big nuclear meltdown or whatever the fuck? And they get on their ship and they fly away? Yeah. Cool. Pregnant girl at one point gets talked into, because she's injured, she gets talked into injecting some of that black liquid into herself, because they said it'll heal her, fix her up, all that shit, whatever the hell. So they inject her with the stuff, and they put her in cryosleep. Everything seems like it's winding down. Girl even changes out of her regular outfit and gets into some shorts and a tank top, and it looks like everybody's getting ready for bed and that kind of thing. Until one of the cryo containers is like, and she's like, what the fuck? And she opens it up, and that pregnant girl is in there with a giant swollen belly, like, what do you know? She gives birth in a nonsense scene to what looks like she gives birth to like an alien egg that has some cooing infant crying inside of it. So for whatever reason, they put this thing down. It's weird as shit. Okay, hold on, I'll be back. Check on her. She's fine. She's kind of fucked up and weird about it. And then they come back to it, and apparently it's crawled out of its little cocoon, and just like with the xenomorph, in a span of like 2 fucking minutes, has grown into this 8-foot fucking... If you've seen Prometheus, it looks like the engineer. Big white thing, all black eyes, looks like a person, not really. It's like a xenomorph human hybrid, looks fucking stupid, and honestly, it reminds me so much of Alien Resurrection. And honestly, that's how the rest of the movie plays out. If you've seen Alien Resurrection and the big dumbass abomination gets on board and starts menacing people and how they deal with it, yeah, this big gross thing starts, walking around. It kills its mother, the pregnant girl, which finally, let's get rid of her. I knew she was going to be an issue. Whatever. Android guy tries helping or whatever, but this thing literally just rips its throat out, and the whole movie, the android, if you just bump into it, it'll fall on the ground and go and start having a fucking seizure malfunction fit to where they gotta reboot him, reset him, and you know what I mean? Like he's an old fucking computer, like, ugh. In a scene that is almost mimic of Alien Resurrection, uses the acid blood of this thing to melt a hole in the floor and cause, a decompression, opens the door to the vacuum of space, and she gets in a spacesuit, and this thing gets sucked out, and she crawls back inside, closes the door. Safety. It's like, give me a fucking break. Everybody hated Alien Resurrection. All Alien fans hated Alien Resurrection because of how, comedic and stupid it was. But at the very end, with this fucking abomination, this half-human, half-xenomorph hybrid, fuck that. It didn't work then, and I'll be goddamned if it doesn't work now. I don't like the way the engineers look at all. Just a stupid human-looking dude with black eyes. I'd almost wish for, the Greys from, Close Encounters or Roswell or whatever the fuck, big-headed gray aliens with black eyes. I'd rather them look like that than just a big, beefy-looking bald fucker with black eyes. In the final moments, she's the last one awake, and she walks over to her broken android friend and says, "I'll fix you somehow." And as she's making some audio log, I'm the last survivor. This is girl signing off. Sound familiar? Reference. Come on, man. This movie should have been called Alien Reference or Alien Fan Service, whatever. But all it does to me is just make me want to watch any of the older movies because they're better than this. Every one of these movies has done something different, except this one. All this movie does is pick and choose what it wants from every other movie, smush it together, and put it on screen and call it new. I remember being a little kid and watching the first Alien. Xenomorph was like, it was the new Wolfman to me. It was a new movie monster that I looked forward to seeing every time. To see it reduced to like just a fan service reference, it bums me out. I don't know who to blame, you know? Because after Alien Covenant, it feels like they were like, okay, message received, backpedal. I guess we better give people what they want, which is fan service, reference. Do you offer anything new? No, we tried all that new shit. Let's go back to reference. This feels like a fan film that was given an $80 million budget. This is not a continuation to the franchise to me. If anything, this is like Rogue One, you know, a Star Wars prequel or whatever the fuck. It's just a side story, a little, you know, here's something to tide you over while we really think of something to come up with, you know. Here's something to tide you over to scratch your xenomorph itch. I saw a bunch of reviews of this, with no spoilers because I wanted to see it for myself. And a lot of them say this is a return to form. This is, you know, they're bringing something new to the table. It's a fresh new look at the Alien, franchise. No, it ain't. It's not a fresh look. It's just a look. You could honestly watch this movie, and almost every other scene, there's like a wink, a nod, or a blatant, here we go, fan service reference. And the point of me doing this right now is just to kind of just air it out. You know, I saw it last night, and it's been bothering me ever since, where I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to make a video and just air it all out, you know. It's like, if I triggered you or pissed you off by talking about a movie that you like, take it easy. I'm not talking shit about you or hating on you at all. I'm just expressing how I felt about this movie. About a franchise that I used to give a lot of, I used to really care about. But from what I hear, they're already greenlighting another Alien movie. So, here we go again. Who knows? Have you seen the movie? Did you like it? Honestly, from what I can tell, a lot of people liked it, so you probably did. But I think I've said enough. If this starts a hate train, then I guess so be it. I don't give a fuck. I said what I said, and I stand by it. With that being said, I think I'm going to end it here. If you made it this far in the video, then thank you for hearing me out at least. If you liked it, leave a like. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you want, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the movie if you've seen it. If I'm wrong, feel free to call me a dumbass or whatever. All comments and ratings are appreciated. And with that, that'll do it. So, see you later. Goodbye.